Day 4 of Steelers OTAs, first of this week. Nick Farabaugh, Alan Saunders here, SteelersNow.com. Alan, today, I'm not sure we learned a ton. It's, kind of entering the period where they're just reinforcing things, different individual drills, installation. But what did you kind of learn? I know I have one big takeaway from today, and that is that Troy Fautanu did get some first-team reps today at right tackle. That's the first time we have seen that. So, rookie getting a little bit of a bump up here early in OTAs.
Yeah, I tried to focus on the defense. I was spending a lot of time over with the safeties, kind of watching Deshaun Elliott and Minkah Fitzpatrick work together. Got a video, one up on the channel here if you're watching on YouTube, of those two guys working together. Just really think it's interesting. Last year, Minkah Fitzpatrick did not have a great year in terms of statistical performance, even when he was healthy, and obviously got hurt and missed a bunch of time beyond that. I wonder how much that was related to the rotating cast of characters next to him. The Steelers tried to go with a combination of Keanu Neal and Damontae Kazee. Then Neal got hurt. Kazee got suspended. Trenton Thompson came in. He got hurt. It was Eric Rowe off the couch by the end of the year. An unsettled situation. So I'm really curious how an established NFL veteran, a guy in the prime of his career, who's going to be the starter from day one of OTAs all the way through the year, can benefit Minkah Fitzpatrick, how those two guys can work together, maybe make each other better. I think really the presence of Elliott could unlock something with Minkah Fitzpatrick that we didn't see last year, so I'm excited to see that. So I spent a lot of time watching those guys. Talked to Deshaun after practice a little bit, and we'll have more of that coming up at SteelersNow.com.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Kazee's still around to be that third safety, and they still have
yeah, man.
Thompson.
I mean, we talked a lot about who's going to be the slot corner. I think we probably have not talked enough about. They still really like that idea of having a three-safety package, yeah. and we're going to see a lot of Damontae Kazee in that role. Yeah,
still Trenton Thompson is still coming back from his neck injury. So it's a deep rotating cast. Ryan Watts has seen some time over there at safety as well. So they have a rotating cast at safety. I think they really want to get Minkah back to being who Minkah was at his best. So I expect to see Minkah more in that robber role, deep third, whatever they kind of do there. I think he'll be in that role more. Now, going to the offensive line, with Fautanu getting his first reps at right tackle, was very interesting to me. Spencer Anderson also is exclusively guard center this year, not tackle anymore. So we're seeing some shifts of what they're trying to do in that room. I do expect, I know it's early, we've kind of talked about how Zach Frazier's been second team, Fautanu was second team last week. I do expect these guys to get more and more first team reps the longer it goes on. So I just think this is the start of that, to kind of see where it goes. These guys are going to get more reps. They're going to get tested by Highsmith and Herbig and Watt and all those players betting on stunts if they face them. So that's going to be a big continuation point, I think, for these guys. It's going to see how fast can they grow. Where are their mentors going to be from? Seems like Dan Moore is becoming a very willing mentor for Troy Fautanu. Isaac Seumalo said it today as well, that he is mentoring Frazier and Fautanu kind of however he can, but he likes to let the coaching speak and then fill in the gaps wherever he can. So I'm very interested to see how quickly these guys kind of ramp up into that first team rep, because right now I think they're just playing it really safe.
Yeah, I mean, this is the 4th of 10 OTAs. I think this is the time of the year also, whether veteran guys are here or not, and obviously they kind of start to come and go. They've been a very well-attended OTAs so far, I think, from that perspective. Only maybe a couple of guys that I haven't seen yet at any point, Cam Hayward notably among them. But, now it's like, oh, well, okay, yeah, Isaac Seumalo was here today, and he was practicing, but if you're the Steelers, wouldn't you rather get a look at Mason McCormick? Wouldn't you rather get a look at Spencer Anderson at guard? There's only so much that veterans have to learn or add or gain from this process. A lot of the rest of what's going on now is getting young guys and players new to the team, like Elliott, ready to go, and then seeing what you have in guys playing different positions. We talked about the flipping of tackles and just where the team's depth lies. And so, more of a focus on that than I think the top line guys now. I talked to some other folks in that. I talked to Isaiah Loudermilk about fine-tuning narrow details of his game. Talked to Jeremiah Moon, new outside linebacker from the Baltimore Ravens, about his opportunity, looking to win one of those backup roles behind Watt and Highsmith. But I think as we move into this portion of OTAs, that's much more what the focus is on than the Isaac Seumalo's, the Russell Wilsons, the TJ Watts. Those guys only have so much to add from this process. Even guys on the offense where it's a brand new install, you could do the install, but do you really need to be out there, practicing it? There's no pads, there's no pass rush. Yeah. There's only so much to be gained.
I did get to talk to Seumalo, Michael Pruitt, Braid Fajoko, even all of them Kind of one commonality that I tried to thread in there was Arthur Smith, seeing kind of what happens, you know, with that. Certainly Pruitt, who has experience in that across multiple years, talked about kind of the different condensed formations he brings. Fehoko said how he hates facing it just because of the motions and the shifts. You know, they can look like they're going to run strong and then put it back weak. It's tough with the shifts that they run. And, you know, Sam All was talking about how finely detailed he is. He's just hammering home the details, so finely tuned. I talked about that on Afternoon Drive on Friday, how I just thought Arthur Smith was a guy that was so detailed, which was, I thought, a pretty big difference from Matt Canada, who I thought was a little bit more lax on the why of every play. I think Smith is more in-depth there. So kind of getting to learn a little bit more about Arthur Smith before we really, you know, get to sit down with Arthur Smith for the first time in minicamp. So it's interesting to kind of see the differences between Matt Canada and Arthur Smith already starting to show up. You talk to anybody else?
I talked to Isaac Seumalo and Russell Wilson about the proposed change from the NFLPA to move OTAs to the summer. Neither of them seemed to have a strong opinion about it. Both kind of said, hey, it doesn't matter. It's our job to be ready wherever, whenever, however. I do think this will be something where the older guys will probably be more in favor of, you know, moving everything together and not taking that time period off. But we'll see how things progress. I think personally, just it makes sense from a medical perspective. Why do you want to get these guys ready to go, then send them away? And Isaac actually said something, you know, it's not like, you know, I think the natural instinct is to say, oh, these guys are going to take 5 weeks off and then come back for training camp. He said guys will overtrain in that period because, you know, they want that edge for when training camp starts, and really they'd be better off just picking up right where they left off in minicamp. So I do think from a physiological standpoint, there's probably a benefit. We'll see if the league and the players and all that can make it work.
Yeah, and I think people kind of underestimate, you know, players aren't here all day during OTAs, and that dead period, they're only here 3 or 4 hours a day, really. You know, on-site training does not happen a ton during the dead period, so usually they're training on their own, which kind of brings up a whole different set of, it can have benefits, but it can also have issues when you're training different things. Yeah. So it can be more targeted and more focused. So, folks, SteelersNow.com, Nick Farabaugh, Alan Saunders. We'll be back, of course, for day 5, day 6, 7, 8, whatever you want to count through until mandatory minicamp concludes. Thanks for listening. As always, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell below.